Hey everybody, Charlie High coming to you with another High Fly. Today's topic is the other side of death for my body. This past Sunday I visited with one of my sons. He's a senior at UNC in Chapel Hill, and on the way back, as I took my exit, I noticed that there was a vehicle overturned and that there were several emergency vehicles surrounding it, and I couldn't really see what had happened, and I needed to pay attention to the road so I didn't end up in an accident. But later on I did see on the news that an off-duty fireman had perished in that accident. And of course he didn't leave home that morning, Sunday early afternoon, with the idea that I'm going to die, but who does? So I got this topic is thinking that sometimes people are so concerned about what's happening to their body, even though they will have no idea of what's happening to the body after you're dead and gone. But still, curiosity is something we have to deal with. So I wanted to go ahead and go ahead and deal with some of these topics. What happens to your body after you die? What happens going to happen to my body after I die? Is my family going to want to have a viewing and a funeral? And if so, my body has to be embalmed. The blood has to be drained from it, fluids, and then they're going to put in some fluid chemicals to preserve my body for the service. So let's go to the embalming room in Richard Harris Funeral Home in Zebulon, and we're going to stop by there and actually visit in the embalming room. Come on, let's go.
So basically, when it comes to embalming, there's three things that take place in the reason why we embalm. The first being disinfection, the second being preservation, and the third being restoration. So those are three main things we do during the embalming process. In that order. Typical case, probably take anywhere between an hour, 2 hours. All depends on the case analysis that you do on the deceased. But typically about an hour to 2 hours. And in that hour, 2 hours, you do those three things. Disinfect, preserve, and restore. One of the most important things is positioning of the deceased on the table. That can help with distribution and diffusion and drainage as well. Particular case, we're trying to do what they call intravascular tissue building, which is filling up the tissues and in basically a case of getting more fill the body up more, so to speak. Also during the embalming process, 4 things happen. It goes in order as well. That's injection, distribution, diffusion, and drainage. Those are 4 things that are also in that order as it actually happens during the embalming process. We massage with soap and water to break up the capillaries, to make sure distribution and diffusion takes place manually.
If my family does decide to have a service after my body is embalmed, then it could be taken to a mausoleum. As you see pictured behind me, my body would be encased in one of these tombs, so to speak. The thing about a mausoleum, though, is it's a separate financial obligation than my funeral. So life insurance, you definitely want to have that for the funeral service, but also if you want to be in a mausoleum, you want to go ahead and make those financial arrangements ahead of time. This could be a disposition for my body. My loved ones will be in charge of that process. And if you got some time, accompany me with me to another destination that my body could end up. Could my body end up in a well-maintained grave plot with a nice headstone that's visited regularly with flowers placed around it? It could, if my family, loved ones so desire to do something like that with my body. But while I'm here at the cemetery, my last destination while I'm here, that is, for bodies, let's go a few feet here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the cemetery I'm at. Not very well maintained, as you can see, but I'm walking back to my grandparents' grave, my mother's parents, and I do remember they both had nice caskets. They believed in insurance. Real nice casket. I do remember the services. But let me show you where their bodies lie now after all of that money. Almost there. I'm gonna turn the camera around, please. With those nice services we have for my grandparents, this is where their graves lie now. I can't even find them. I know about the area. As you can see, it's unkept. Weeds are grown up. It's somewhere in this area. Actually, here's one of the outlines of the grave. We've had some disputes over who's supposed to maintain the graves and keep the grass cut and all that stuff. There's even more plots for my family out here, but we don't even know where those nice caskets are at. Even if I want to visit, so to speak, my grandparents, I'm not exactly sure, other than this outline here of, I think, my grandfather's grave. So, just something to think about. And if you would accompany me to my next destination, come on, let's go. The last thing I want to talk about that could happen to my body is my family could decide to put me in an urn, my ashes in an urn, and maybe on a mantelpiece somewhere. But the thing about urns is, how do you pass it on to the next generation? Is the next generation going to want my urns? Would my grandchildren want my urn on their mantelpiece? Or would they say, hey, let's get rid of Granddad. He's been sitting on that mantelpiece long enough. And then we have another option also. For those who can't afford an urn or don't want to pay for an urn, there's a plain cardboard box that the ashes could be put in. If you do not like any of these dispositions for your body that I just mentioned, the urn or the box for your remains, then the best thing to do is go ahead and plan ahead. Life insurance. I am a life insurance agent. If you need to consult with me, just contact me anytime. Or if it doesn't really matter to you what happens to your body, then of course, again, I've been over the different things that could occur, even with my body. The family's in charge. But think about this too. Your relatives want closure. If it means getting an expensive casket and getting life insurance for them so that they can go through the grieving process and navigate it a little better, then why not just go ahead and get a nice casket? The funeral is not about me. It's about how do my loved ones want to grieve? How do they want to process my passing? Even though it may not matter to me if I'm in a box or in a casket. What matters to them is what I have to put first. Hopefully we'll be able to talk more about this topic in the future. I welcome your comments, and you've just experienced another Hassa Fly.